We are live. It's Brian and Chris here from Resolve Technology. And today we want to talk about keeping track of your assets, your IT assets on a computer network. This is one of the most fundamental rules to general IT management and IT security because without knowing the different devices that are on your network, it's pretty hard to keep them patched and up to date and knowing where your risk lies. From time to time, we have clients with either internal IT or we're just managing the whole network for them. And all of a sudden there's a new device on the network and it may not have been authorized and we're scratching our heads as to why that is. Okay, that's the first step, is to figure out exactly what's on your network, right? Can you set up alerts to notify you if some new device lands on your network? Not all networks can do that, so sometimes it has to be a manual check, right, by your people to make sure that everything is as it should be. You need to investigate these new devices if they do show up on your network, and you need to have ways of blocking those devices because most of the stuff nowadays you can block the device. So we'll go in there, we can either block it from the switch or the firewall and do further investigation and find out if that asset really needs to be on the network. Chris, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, there's a few things you can do. So this is in my lab environment at home here. This is our unified controller I have hosted in the cloud. But essentially, I can see all the active clients, right? Whether they're Wi-Fi, what Wi-Fi network they're connected to. I can see what's plugged into what port on my switch. So that's another big thing. Maybe they're plugging things in, you block ports. In terms of Wi-Fi, though, a way to mitigate some of this is turn on something like MAC address filtering and only do an allow list or maybe a deny list for the MAC address of a device you don't want on your network. There are ways around it with MAC spoofing and things like that, but generally, you're not trying to make it impossible to ever connect to the network. You're not going to be able to achieve that. You're just trying to make it harder and harder for someone trying to be snooping around on your network. Firewall's another big thing. I can see what keys are leased out, what logical network there's a connection to. Give you multiple VLANs, for example. You might have something that's wide open and you're a little curious to what's in there. I'd leverage the firewall. I'd leverage out my unified controller or whatever you have. You're using Cisco Meraki, whatever portals they have.
If you're on a domain network and you're using Windows domain with Active Directory, you can block certain MAC addresses, certain IPs within Active Directory, or you can restrict them from the domain, the computer itself. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, you can see I'm scanning down here and it's only, I can set the range of the subnet I'm trying to scan down, find what's on the network. I can see MAC addresses, manufacturers. This is just one of our advanced IP scanner tools. I can also see, oh, this .06 here there's a web page. It's broadcasting HTTP. You might see certain ways of connecting being out there on your network. So any device on this network and then communicate with it. What Brian was saying on a domain, like a business environment, in Active Directory, I can go to say I didn't want this computer to be signed into anymore. We're decommissioning it. You could just disable the computer asset itself in Active Directory. So this R support machine, this is just something I was testing, but this could be your business name dash desktop 1, 2, 3. You could just disable the asset here, and then they would no longer be able to sign in any user. So it could be an administrator account. It could be you have hundreds of employees. It could be any of them. That computer is no longer allowed to authenticate. So it would take you'd effectively block access.
Nice. All right, you're going to show the DHCP. Yeah.
I know you were excited for that one.
Super excited.
I can add to an allow or deny filter. So this is the client list. You could possibly do the same thing on a router or a firewall if it's using DHCP, depending on the equipment you're using. But say this right here, I don't know what this is, WinDR88. It looks like a Windows computer that wasn't renamed. I could just add the filter deny, and then I'd pull the reservation out for that address and boom.
Yeah, blocked on the network. Yeah, nice. All right, so yeah, just a thing to remember, your asset management is the most fundamental piece of your IT security. Hey, thanks for showing us that, Chris. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.